I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal for this country and all the countrymen here today, and also everyone from all the organisations and where you're from. It's really lovely just to be up here and talking at this conference. It's been a good conference, eh? It's been really nice and really good night last night, and Costa's been amazing as well. It's good to have that energy, you know, and all that happiness. And as you saw in the video, that's what it's all about, you know, that energy and that coming together, you know, and that work. And so then you start to talk about governance, you know, and how like environment and social go together. When people talk about environment and social, they think, oh yes, it's all about health of healthy people, identity and knowledge building. Yeah, that's all part of that, you know. But it goes even deeper than that. The way that we structure our organisations, the way that we set up our employment programs, the way that we look at policies and changing policies, all can be inspired by Indigenous governance, a shared leadership, and not a fractured society where people run off in different directions, you know. And when we look at that shared responsibility, that's based on what we call shared knowledge. Not the sensitive knowledge, the shared knowledge. And the shared knowledge is the most important knowledge of all, because the shared knowledge is where we talk about our well-being. And like, for example, brush your teeth, otherwise your teeth will fall out. Manage your country right, otherwise the trees will die or you'll get all big fires. And that was a shared thing, because when the landscape was healthy, that was the economy, see? You know, for the old people for so long, with the trade, having a beautiful landscape. And by maintaining a healthy landscape, then there was a healthy kinship, because that kinship will be very healthy too, because when you marry for different tribes and connect with each other, I wouldn't let my daughter marry that fellow over there if he burnt all the trees down. And they had no tucker, and they kept coming over our way for looking for feed. And so that responsibility was really important, to hold that social structure right across the whole continent. Even everyone's different, everyone got their own language, everyone's unique, but all Aboriginal people, all people. And that is a very important lesson in there around governance and how we work together. And when we look at our employment structures, you know, we want to look at just alone a job that's looking after your land, and a job that is pulling back your identity, and a job that you're getting paid to do your culture. Of course they're going to throw their lives at it. And the motivation, even if you've got a scrub that's full of lantana for 10,000 hectares, and you've got to slave away with brush hooks, they'll do it, because they know what they're doing it for. They're doing it for themselves. Any other reason, you go and slash all that lantana, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that, that's a bloody horrible job. But as soon as you show them that big field of lantana, or that thick forest of wattle that's taken over all the ecosystems, or whatever it may be, and as soon as they learn the identity of country and they see that right way of looking at landscapes, when do we start? I want to start right away. But wait, yet we got to ask national parks first and get the policies, then we got to sort out this yet. And that seems to be the key all the time. And so this is really about how we look at the proper authorities around knowledge, and how we look at the proper governance of knowledge, and how that governance is that whole structure, so that organisations aren't running off in different directions, that organisations aren't putting titles up on their websites, we want to be the leading agency to run cultural burning in Australia. It's not a competition. And it's not that old structure anymore. That's out the window now, where everyone's competing with each other and everyone's trying to do better than someone else. It don't work. You already see it don't work. The job's too big, the country's massive. The work to do is incredibly, it goes on for the next generations after generations after generations. So one thought of one person thinking, well, this is what I'm going to do this, and we're going to be the best at it, and we're not going to work with everyone else. We'll even take some of their knowledge too. I won't worry about them, we'll just do it ourselves. And running our own path. Money's going, investing that way, money investing that way, money investing that way. Everyone falls over. What a big waste of resource. Come to the point there, no one even working together. That don't work. It never has worked. And that's the world that's based on greed. And that greed is what's destroyed our country, and what's also destroying our society. So traditional knowledge and governance. Traditional knowledge itself, like there's so many aspects of that. And how those employment roles and those jobs, the way that we structure that with the Firesticks, for example. Now, the role of Firesticks is not to become a big agency that has fire trucks and runs around and going, we're going to take over get traditional land management going. That's not the role of Firesticks. The role of Firesticks and what we're doing is exactly what I'm talking about, pulling all the partners in together. So there's even positions that are employed through Firesticks that other agencies are paying for. We all throw in, we all put in, and we all invest in rebuilding the skills and rebuilding all the practitioners and coordinators that are going to be out there in the hundreds that's going to train the next young ones, it's going to support the Landcare groups, it's going to support into the national parks, and all of them got to be on board. And investing in one thing, Australia's fire practitioners of the future. And that is where what we got to do. We can't do it on our own, Aboriginal people. National parks can't do it on their own. Rural fires certainly aren't land managers. And so it's a whole structure of governance and the way that we put that together, and that would be very, very clever. That will make sure that there's an abundance of resource, to make sure that jobs will continue, to make sure that the knowledge base grows. So the first step is training the Indigenous people from their own country. That's the first step. That's stage one. Let's train the practitioners. And the idea is like, oh no, what about us? What about us? People say that. What about the white fellas? It's only for black fellas. No, it's for everyone. But we've got to start with the stepping stones that we missed in the past, as you heard. And those stepping stones are really important because, and you got to understand that it's also about that putting back that governance and that structure that has managed this country for so long. And that means to employ the people from their own country because, one, that's to build trust. And once we have the right process and then getting our people and everyone on country getting jobs again and managing their lands and starting to work on national park without having all the hassles and start to do all this work, then we see trust. The other side of that, when we start training people from their own country, we're putting back that culture that's been there for thousands of years. And remember, that culture is just as valuable as every endangered species. It is together and crucial. You cannot separate that. And so when we look at putting that culture back and we train those practitioners, then what happens is they're not going to leave that country. And that's why training them first, we know that knowledge will stay there. You know that they got family, they're part of all the communities, they share it in the schools. And so when we get the first group of practitioners, some of them are doing the monitoring. One of them would be like the key practitioners, and they'll grow old and then they'll pass that knowledge on because they're not going to leave their land. And then once we have that right strength in that region, everyone can join in, everyone go. And if we're all supporting that, it'll happen quickly. But when we're on our own trying to do it, it's a struggle, it's no funding, no support, or this agency's saying this and this agency's saying that, and it's causing friction, or the spanners thrown in the works, and it just don't work. And what you don't realize is that when you're investing in the people, you're investing in all of us. We need to invest in a model that's an investment in our young people and into the future. And it's really, really important. So when we say, yeah, we're going to train all the mob up, don't feel left out. I know what that feels like. But don't feel left out. Feel a part of it. And we need to get that clear. And so for us, it's for changing the policies, all those things. And the job is not just fire. Nah. Another fellow, like I said, doing the monitoring. Another fellow's a practitioner. Another one does the youth groups and brings the school kids in. Another fellow over here that's chopping away at all that wattle and getting rid of that. We're doing feasibility studies and not burn it, take it out, and we'll turn it into oils or make whatever, look at. We want Western science to support us to look at our plants and to start looking at the green economy, social enterprise, and how we can start evolving our economy around healing landscapes and getting healthier, better foods, opportunities, you know? And there's jobs too to be cutting. There's waterways to be cleaning. There's so much more work to do yet, and that sits in the realm of harvesting. There's two things, the fire one thing, you know, but the other one is harvesting knowledge. And harvesting knowledge is really important because that's like when a cockatoo goes up on a tree and he snaps all the branches, you know, and all the branches fall down. You see that? He's pruning that thing, he's sharpening his beak, but that thing's gonna flower better next time. He knows, come back, oh, really nice. Same thing when people walk through the country and they're picking berries, they break a lot of the berry and fruit trees will snap the branches. Snap them. And they carry all the fruit, little tiny fruits here in Australia. We don't get like big pear. It's all little tiny fruits on the tree. You're not going to be going like this all the time. And so snap, and they just snap with no fibre, no twisting, because they've been used to it for thousands of years, like twig. And you can just carry all the branches back, put them, everyone grab a branch, and eat the fruit like that. But that tree just got pruned. And sometimes when the fruit trees now don't have much fruit, it's because they've never been pruned. They haven't been harvested the right way that they have been. And so some mob, they're walking around and looking at the old cherry trees and native cherry tree. And I say, after the fruiting, go in and snap them. Even if you're not eating it, so the birds got more food. And make that thing come more fruit for next season, you know, and next year. And so there's so much and so much, we haven't even scratched the surface. But when we talk about how our employment structures and how we can look at Indigenous governance, it can fit into our modern structures today and how we work together in agencies, and we can be the same way. I'm holding that responsibility, knowing who we are and respecting place, respecting people, but all investing in the same outcome and all celebrating the same outcomes. And then all the things people say, how do I get involved? How do we do cultural burning? Oh, we did cultural burning the other day. We had this fellow who knew this in community, and you know, he was good friends with them, and he came over and because he was connected to them, that was an Aboriginal burn. Or we had one Aboriginal person there. That's cultural burning. Nah. Looking after that country has got to have all the benefits and all the spin-offs. Like when you burn that place, the ladies come and collect the weaving, and the kids come and do their science project there, and the youth. Another fella's doing the oils and making soaps, and someone else is doing the monitoring and writing the papers, and you know, other mob are just practicing their culture and out on country being healthy. Another fella's doing food and how we better eat aligned with our DNA, with landscapes and exploring all of that through landscape and country. There's so much to do and so much opportunity. And all the doors open if we get healthy landscapes. Remember, that's the economy, the healthy landscape. But when we got an unhealthy landscape, all the doors close. And we're all closing on us now. As soon as we create healthy landscapes and we start to apply this way and the knowledge, and we exercise in that knowledge, and people are learning, looking at their country and putting back the pieces and joining the dots to get that bigger picture back again on their country and within their communities, then there's an excitement and doors open and opportunities. And that is the seeding ground to help influence agriculture and influence so much more. And if we all get our shoulder behind the right process, then we can everyone will be able to get to the chance where they have a practitioner in their region. And they can go and do a burn, and we'll get to the point where, they're doing the burn there, and you know, you've got people there to help you, and it's all in the regions, alive and well. And that's what's already happening now, many places. Some communities, when we first started off, they didn't have a blade of grass to burn. Nowhere to even walk around and light a fire. And now today, they got like, a whole fleet of vehicles and, about 20 or 30 people employed. And they're all like burning through National Park now, and they're doing it without the park rangers being there and having to have any hassle. Up in Kuranda for the Jabbergai, in my hometown up there, but for the Jabbergai mob in that country there, they now burn on a national park without any problem at all. The other day we burned on a national park. My brother Barry there, he just rung up on the phone, hey, we're going to do a burn here, burn it on. Yeah, go on. Off you go. And that all is how it all should be working. Should all be all together and in with it together. And when we see the outcomes on country, then it builds more confidence. But we're not going to get there if everyone goes, oh, we're going to take that and do that there. And practitioners have come to the workshops and all of a sudden they're running around teaching everyone. And they haven't consulted with the community. They haven't talked about how they share that knowledge properly. And they miss the whole concept of that big structure and how important it is. So that all the benefits happen. And so you don't get people upset. This fella's upset. Oh, that fella running around doing this. And oh, look what he's doing. He haven't even asked us to come on the country. And all these problems. Oh, that agency's over there running off and they haven't even talked to us. They got cultural burning going. How the hell do they do that? Who's in there doing that? And the training models, they're different again too, And when we look at our training models, then we're looking at two sides of accrediting someone. And accrediting is a wrong word. The word is not accreditation because that doesn't fit. We don't want Aboriginal fire management to be taught in a TAFE. We don't want our Aboriginal fire knowledge to be taught in a university. Yes, we can do the monitoring and the science and people can become doctors of science based on the practical and on their own country, no problem. So there's scholarship funds that we're developing for that, for all the communities to hopefully get those doctors of science happening. And a part of the team, not research that flies in and comes into town and go, well, I'm here for 2 weeks and, I'll do my study on you. Can you do this for me, do this for me? All right. And then he's gone. Never see him again. So the paradigms of research also need to change. Everything needs to come together. And so that Doctor of Science is the person that's doing the scholarship right there, and they're recording all the knowledge, and they're doing the burns as well, and they're a part of that management team for good, so that they continue to flow the benefits into the community, continue to flow the outcomes. And so that the research money and research dollars actually see practical outcomes. Not millions and millions of dollars of research going into somewhere and we don't see anything happen on the ground. Totally separate to us, totally separate to everybody. It's just not right, Like we see billions and billions of dollars go down the drain after every wildfire. All gone down the sink. Zero investment. Zero. Billions of dollars. And not one outcome. Except, well, we better watch out for next year. We better warn them people to run next time. Oh, we'll make a better indicator thing, where the fire goes, like bad, worse, extreme conditions. We'll make a better one of those. That don't work. It's just putting the steroids on what doesn't work. Why? $500 million gone into doing blazing trails all over New South Wales, putting bulldozers all through the country. They haven't learned any lessons. Nothing. Investing in zero. In fact, what they're investing is destroying more land, clearing more land. Oh, let's clear more land. That's the answer. Not making the land more healthy. Not making it an abundance so that it can open the doors of opportunity. Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it, eh? It's incredible how everything gets like upside down. And how we're doing things that are so stupid, so dumb. Why are we doing it that way? And the answer is always like this. Just turn it upside down, you find the answer. Fear of fire, turn upside down. Friendly fire, that's the answer. Hot fire, turn upside down. Cooler fire, nice and cool and gentle. Turn everything upside down in terms of the way that everything is running today now, and you find the answer. It's really weird. Really, really, really weird. And so how do we get this going? And how do we roll with that? We all start working together and making it happen. And so agencies, all the agencies, that's what we're doing with the Firesticks is trying to get everyone to pull together. And our role is, like I said before, not to come into some big agency and grow like on our own and go, you know, that's what the government wants all businesses to do. Okay, you grow, we're gonna employ more people, we're gonna get bigger. It gets more stressful, and we're in one organization and they get 1,000 people employed. We need something where we're all sharing that load, and we're all got those practitioners employed and all investing in that. So national parks need to be on board to create those practitioners so they can manage the park. And those fellas are, you know, all part of the community, you know, and they can do all these other things and benefits that flow into the community, which would be really, really amazing. So, you know, if you're in your regions, talk to your local mob, start your first workshops, start talking. The structure's already started, and what's happening up in Nalsma and the mob up there, and what we're doing with Firesticks, what other communities are doing too. And let's just start to get all the cogs spinning. And then you get all the cogs spinning, they all got their own range of programs, and they've got their own employment structures, and they're employing their own people in their country. And that's the whole idea, is to give the community the capacity to do it themselves. That region, to do it themselves. So we're here to build the capacity of every region and get those cogs spinning so that they're spinning on their own, and so we don't have one bucket of money that's trying to manage it all. They're all managing, we're all pulling the chain, and we're all given that nice responsibility right across the board, the way it was always done. That shared knowledge, shared responsibility of looking after a country with the same structure so that we have it really, really, really right. And so it can't be corrupted. And you can't have people running around doing the wrong thing, charging some poor little old lady $10,000 for doing a little acre. Or, you know, or just crazy. It needs to be solid jobs for all the mob, and it needs to be connected to all the cultural aspects. That's what this is about, all the benefits that flow in the community. And if you're just burning country and that's it, and there's no benefits to the community, then it's not called a cultural burn or Aboriginal burning. It's not even close. Everything is in Mother Nature is in sync. Everything in Mother Nature is connected. That's how we've got to have our social governance as well, all the same structure as Mother Nature. And that is a social structure that is sustainable. People and country. Thank you.
Let me come over there, Victor. I got the lectern. Before I call the panel up, can I just say thank you for your articulate, alternative, parallel, yet integrated perspective that you've shared with such a poise and a calm, yet, as you said in the talk yesterday, light feet with an incredible gravity about every aspect of what you just said, which covers every person in the room and their capacity to be part of this alternative yet integrated perspective of what we're all intimately involved with and gathered here today to be projecting, not just for the next 2 years until the next conference, but as you said, like 100 years, 200 years. Yeah, that's sort of, that's all I have to say at this point.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's right, eh? That's all I got to say too, I think. But yeah, that's right, I mean, what a wonderful world it would be, if we had everyone working together and if we're all investing in the future, investing in a healthier landscape and starting to see that when we have healthy landscapes, that's what broadens our knowledge. And that's what broadens opportunity. And that's how we change agriculture. And that's how we learn more secrets from Mother Nature and all that important knowledge. That's how we strengthen Indigenous knowledge into the future and not it declining. All that sort of side of it,